to hear and learn from our two student representatives and another student representative, or two more that I have here. So welcome everybody. While we are waiting for a few more people to arrive, I want to give a little bit of a situation of a welcome and a vision for all of us. And what we're trying to do is to expand our diversity, equity, and inclusion committee work out of just focusing on focus and staff and to include students. We just completed our first campus read, which was a read that we offered to all faculty and staff. And we had over 70 participants. It was very exciting. And the book that we read was White Fragility. How could I forget?
I know, right?
Yeah, was White Fragility, and it was powerful, and it was enlightening, and it was facilitated by both a person of color and a white person, so that we had representation as we talked about institutional racism and other kinds of behaviors that are limiting to individuals. It was very powerful, and it was, Ms. Asbury was in my group, and we were pretty excited about what we learned from others, and that's what we're interested in doing. So what we wanted to do was have a vision that eventually we would have a complete campus read. A campus read where all faculty, all staff, and all students are reading the same book. And that we can have these amazing, open, honest discussions about some very difficult topics. And to do that in an environment where people can express what their experiences are and share, so that new sharings, new experiences can be created and developed. We are starting small, which is why we wanted to have a focus group of students to come in and give us what are your thoughts and your ideas. Because we don't want to come in and say this is how it needs to be done. We meaning faculty and staff, we really would like to have it done, facilitated in a manner that's going to be beneficial and helpful. So let me give you some, and this is being recorded. Let me double check it's recorded. Yes, I am. All right. So this is what two students who were not able to be present sent me. They sent me some ideas. So just very quickly, Giovanna, we're not going to do self-intros because of time. Giovanna is in my COM 120 Interpersonal to Communication class, and she is also president of the Public Services Club, right? And Sanaya Polo is she's in my public speaking class, and I've known her for a long time. And good morning.
Sorry,
Oh, no, you're fine. And she is president of our Effective Communication Association. Avery cannot be here. She is our president of SGA. And Abigail is now in the BASE Club. She just joined the BASE Club. And she was referred to us by Salethia, Dr. Salethia McMillian, to be a member. So these two people have sent me messages. So I'm going to read those messages so that you can hear what are their ideas, because they could not be present today. All right. From there, Ms. Grind is, you all know, she is amazing.
Let me see my chin.
There's your chin. I know.
It's weird.
It is. So Ms. Grind is department chair for English and Humanities. She teaches English, but I have really connected with her because of her degree and now her counseling practice. So she is an actual personal counselor, and she pretty much specializes in our college age group. So, she is open and honest and straightforward, but she is the most amazing listener. She listens. So, and that's why she will be a really good facilitator. And Ms. Asbury works in our development department, and I really only got to know you significantly through our book club when we were in that together. And she's bringing, her own story to the table that I think really adds to understanding of what we're trying to achieve. So, and you all know me. All right. So who cannot be here is Dean Voigt, and Ms. Stroman's on her way. And Dean Stroman might be our person of color to help co-facilitate if we need, but I am very, very worried about the ratio of faculty, staff to students. So we'll have to play with that, and I'll let the facilitators work through that. And Dean Voigt is just an ally of all of this. She is behind all of us. So with that being said, let me go into Abigail. She believes that the group will be a success. Remember, this is being recorded, so if you want to look at it later. By allowing opinions to be freely expressed and students being allowed to recommend books on occasion. Food. There has to be food. And can either do small snacks, box of chips, cookies, or occasionally go to a coffee shop kind of place and personally purchase exactly items over there. Exactly. When personally, since she lives so far away, I can still meet up at the school or somewhere in Aberdeen on Mondays and Wednesdays, but after 2 o'clock. So scheduling is going to be one of our challenges. Zoom works too. And we did Zoom last group. It doesn't matter where for me, but we could stay close to campus or stay at campus. I'm not really familiar with the Aberdeen Pinehurst area. Okay. So those are her thoughts. Avery Campbell sent us her message. All right. Here are some of her ideas. And of course, she wishes she could be there. So she said, is that Alfreda? Here she comes. So she says some don'ts right off. Okay? Don't make an agenda to keep everyone at the same pace in reading. If someone reads ahead, don't spoil it for others. Don't get sidetracked and veer away from the book. Stay on topic. The agenda can also help with this. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts. If it's difficult or different from what others are thinking, it will only make the discussion more interesting. Don't feel like you have to weigh in on every discussion. It's okay to just listen. And don't force anyone to contribute. Putting someone in the spot can make them uncomfortable, and you want to keep the environment welcoming. Do's. Do try and keep up with the reading so you can contribute to the discussions. Oh, if you could sit over here, and then we can have you on camera. Yeah. Okay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay. Do try and keep up with the reading so you can contribute to the discussions. Do let everyone share their thoughts. Try not to be a conversation hog or speak over others. And do write down your thoughts, questions as you are reading. This can help further discussions when there's a lull. Can you tell she wants to be a teacher? She's going to be a teacher. That's her career goal. So some really good ideas. So at this point, I am going to sit my butt down and I'm going to be quiet. If you want me to write anything on the board, I will, but since we're recording it, I think it's better if we just talk. And, I was wondering, like, what questions you might have, what answers you might be looking for. As our primary facilitators, I would really like for you to ask your questions. And Dean Stroman, I did talk a little bit already about what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, and if you want to say a few words to start.
The purpose is to get everyone involved. Now, heard about faculty, staff. It is important for our students to have that experience. You know what our buttons say? Belong, engage. Those are the things that we are working on here at Springfield. So as we think about equity, diversity, equity, inclusion, is about providing a vehicle for all of us to be able to look at our environment, not only academically, but socially, because it has to, when we talk about equity, inclusion, reading and doing these things, it's just like it fits like hand in glove. And to know that you, as students, are interested, it makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. Because you all, I always say, college students, you all are the change agents. Things change. When you take a stand, you recognize. So hopefully this is the first of many. So I'm sure she's giving you a little history and everything. So,
All right.
Linguistic-wise, we decided on the book, right?
Yes.
Okay. And is it, I wrote my book, is it the Dear Martin book?
Yes.
Is what we're reading?
This is our first one.
Okay, cool. I haven't read it yet. I'm excited about it.
yes.
I was wondering if you all would like to have a guided, well, has anyone ever been in a book club before? Have either of you ever participated in?
Just like,
Okay. So,
I've thought about that too as well.
and so there are different ways, that you can go forward with. You can assign chapters, and then, just expect everybody to be on the same page. You can also assign roles so that when you get together, there's one person who is going to summarize it. There's one person going to figure out what questions that they want to ask. And I've done that before in classes, and it's worked really well with people who haven't been in a book club before, because you want to be able to, you might want to have some structure, at least initially.
I found a question, right?
You mean for this
Yes.
book?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick Stone, the author,
Yes.
has some questions.
Yes.
But then again, I think it's important when you're reading it, if you have questions. I mean,
Yes.
A purpose for reading.
the people who are reading it, like, I'm trying to think what. We used to do a book club back when we taught 95.
What's that?
We read The Secret Life of Bees in that class. And those students really responded well to having each week they would have a different. I don't want to make it stressful, but just an idea, just because if you're gonna have something maybe, but I don't want anybody to come. I don't like being called out. What do you think? Yeah. I don't like that.
I guess they said they get called in class. No, we don't want this to be as if it's a class.
Yeah, it should be like that we can take the time for our moment in reading. If there's pressure on the reading, it's not a reading for pleasure, but for motivation. So creating a very relaxing, chill environment so it can allow students to feel very comfortable and now that we assign.
Keep in mind the book, Dear Martin, may have some difficult conversations. And that's the key point that I want you all to know. Because when we talk about diversity and inclusion, sometimes the questions can be a little uncomfortable for some people. So still, I think having something as you're reading makes a difference. So it's most important to enjoy
Yeah.
process.
Like a guidance.
Yes. Study guide. I always say, what's the schema? Do you have prior knowledge? All those things.
Yeah. I'm excited to start reading this book.
I know, I wanted to start.
Because I'm not reading any book right now, so I'm excited to start. I just finished reading a book and I'm about to. I'm excited.
I just finished one last night and I kind of wanted to start this one, but I didn't
Yep.
want to until
You want to be fresh.
Right. Well, I've also been in many different kinds of book clubs, and what I have discovered is, like you said, I don't want to be called out because there's like the spirit of, that moves us. So when somebody wants to speak, it's very valuable versus, you're now assigned to do something. And so I love listening to other people and how they relate to it. I was in a book club with my friends, and I was the only white person in that book club. And it was a Toni Morrison book, and I kept trying to relate to it, and they were so kind in helping me to see no, and giving me more insights. I remember Gwen was so helpful. So I think that it's really, it helps us to sometimes be uncomfortable so that we can learn and grow.
Yeah, I think, the book club that we had with White Fragility, the atmosphere that was created in the room, we felt very safe. We kind of went over ground rules each time. And it's interesting because typically I don't speak up a ton in meetings or depending on the topic, but I found myself speaking up a lot more in that because I was very comfortable. It was a topic I was passionate about. And I was really learning a lot from my colleagues. So I would just say, if you're feeling like you want to speak up, follow that. Whatever you say is kept between us.
That's like a pushing a little out of the context, but like book, club books, book clubs, the ones that we're doing now, is my very first time experience, even because in Brazil, we don't have clubs. It's not part of our culture to have clubs. Elementary schools, high schools, college, there is not such a
You
thing.
don't have books.
We don't have clubs.
Clubs, they have books.
Yeah, we do have books, but we don't have clubs.
Okay.
So this, since I started studying nursing, and I was like, what is that? I had no idea what's a club. I had I never experienced, and it's not something that it is within my culture. Don't have it. So I started experimenting clubs, and then I started understanding what they were about. But book club is the very first time, but it's just like bringing that, like my background. I never, we don't have that. So if you ask any Brazilian, oh, have you participated in a book club? They're just gonna look at you like, what is that? Say that again. So I'm very excited actually to experiment that as well, and really get the best of it.
What do you think is the best way to invite other students to participate? Because this one was a targeted group to just get it started. We just wanted to have a focus group. But how do you think we might reach out?
Well, there are a few ways then. Most definitely, I think professors are a great way to invite the students, so communication, English, any other professor that might relate to book club. So maybe not math, but professors that related to that area, they could heads up for students. There's a book club going on. We're very excited. We're reading. So I think it starts the roots, it starts through the professors. That's how the words spread with the students, and that's where I think students have more credibility when professors are inviting them and reinforcing about the idea of a book club. So I think that's a way. The second way, definitely bulletin boards. All of those bulletin boards, fill them up with flyers. Students take a look at them, believe it or not. You're doing nothing waiting for your professor to lock the door, and there's a bulletin board right in front of you. You have nothing but looking at
funny, I never thought of that.
board. Yeah. So definitely bulletin boards. If you guys can put one upstairs, one downstairs in every building, that would be awesome. Another way also to spread the word, like just to publicity about publicity in the clubs. The screens in the MC Hall Center, there are some TVs downstairs, and those TVs, literally, the only thing that they show is the security, gun safety, how to proceed. Let's just start putting more stuff to that TV, because looking at that thing also mentally and psychologically makes you feel like, ugh. So changing the scenario and putting like clubs and like other clubs, not only like book club, but other clubs. That's going to be the publicity for all the clubs in college, not only how to approach someone when they are holding a gun.
That's such an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Very
so?
good from a student perspective to know that, the screen
Yeah.
and what's on there and the safety. Yeah, that's
This
what
is
I thought.
very helpful, very helpful.
Did you talk to Brandy about maybe going through clubs to see if you get students from different clubs, maybe president?
Well, that was the list I sent.
Yeah.
That was from Brandy.
Okay.
So the first list that I sent out to everybody was the list that Brandy gave me. So that was from her, but we could put it in the flyer, the SGA flyer,
Oh, yeah.
Monday flyer.
I don't want it to get sick.
No,
Yeah.
I think it's important to have a manageable number for discussion about
I do
it.
too.
You don't want someone to be lectured, to be able to have a good day. So we don't want to just put it out there and, I mean, if you get a lot of people, that's awesome, but
Smaller groups. Yeah.
Yeah, funny thing with my own experience from public service club, we've been really working hard to push the students, and they just don't. We've worked so hard, and now we have a group of like 6, 7 active members in the club. But how hard we worked, from flyers to newsletter to like face to face, like here personal talks, and they are just so. I feel like if we reached a range of 100 students and we got 6 active students, do you understand? I'm not being pessimist, but being very realistic. I think the more students we can reach out, the average number for a club we would have, and I truly don't believe we would exceed 20 students or 15 students or something that we would have to split the club into sections. And not being pessimistic, just being very realistic to my own experience, working really hard since July, trying to invite students for the club. They are just
Yeah, I think that casting that wide net is, like you said, you typically don't get, but individual, I think targeted ask is really
Yes.
helpful if you have a friend, or if I was thinking of classes I teach, to express, okay, the class is book, or I know that they mentioned, I think sometimes people do that. They're not going to respond to, they're going to feel like, oh, maybe that's something, oh, there'll be a lot of questions, right? I'm not thinking that's good enough, or whatever is going through their heads about. Okay, so I think that might be helpful.
What would be the hook from public speaking? What would be the message if you could put this whole concept into a message? What would you want to say to other classmates, to students? How would you get them to want to attend with the book?
That's a good first question to ask, Maya.
It really is.
Then I would ask, are you or about race? Tell them what the book is. That's well, this is how I get the book similar to this.
Oh, that's the one I recommended. Have you read that one? Of course I
It's one of my
have.
favorite books.
It's so good.
Really proud. The movie was like,
And what was the last thing you said? I'm sorry. And then tell what the book.
And I thought you haven't read this one yet.
no. I'm scared.
Who recommended this one?
I did.
You read it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And Max recommended it to me.
Okay.
Actually, Max recommended it to both of us.
Have you read it?
I have not read the entire book, but I have read like on the book.
Yeah.
I've started it, but I never. I've never started.
Yeah. It hit home
Yeah.
for me. Yes. And which is, I only cry with books, which is odd. But it with my, with the kinds of schools that my husband and my son have been principals of, it really struck home. And so it was very enlightening. So, of course, I made my son read. I didn't make it. That's very helpful. Thank you.
I have a question. For this book group, have they working throughout the fall semester, or is there a time frame for us to go through the reading and through the discussions and throughout the work? Was it 2 months or all the way to December?
How do you all feel about having to stop at a certain page? I don't work, and I might want to read the whole book and then focus on talking about chapter or, I don't know, what do y'all think? Usually in my book clubs that I've been involved in, not the white fertility one, but other ones, we've read the whole book.
Yeah.
About it. Yeah, because this is a relatively short book.
It's an easy, yeah,
I know that I'm gonna get sucked into.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna
you
go
want to
stop.
stop. It's crazy. It's like very addictive. You can stop.
When you do it like that, do you have a
We just have one meeting. We just say,
Yeah.
this book, this thing. And sometimes we go to someone's house, we go to restaurants, we sit in a room, on campus.
Yeah, and honestly, it could be something that interested people could get the book and read it over fall break.
Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
And then we come back from fall break and have a session.
I'm traveling fall break, but I can read the book. It's not like,
You can
yeah.
read while you're
Yeah, I have a trip planned for, like, I'm going to Seattle. I'm very
So you're gonna
excited.
be on the airplane for a long time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can read on the way back. I'll certainly be exhausted. Taking a very good nap.
That's
But on the way
exciting.
there, yes, that's actually good. I miss fall break.
Yeah.
Fall break.
Week after next.
Through the third.
Okay.
Is that,
Are we gonna buy copies of the book?
yes.
SGA.
As, yeah, Brandy's going to, and we need to tell her how many books. We should just get that done. How many books do you think we might be able?
Let's just start with 20,
20?
25. We'll see. And we might not have 25 participants, but at least there may be some facilitators as well as, you know, I have.
Well, and if someone comes to the book club and enjoys it, we can give them a book to get to.
Yeah.
I had this great experience with the book club. We can write something out of it. Please
That's great.
join us. If you're interested in the next book club, we can put books. We have extra. They're not that expensive, right?
So,
$10.
Are students supposed to return the book?
no,
Because I like to highlight.
Yeah.
I don't know how to not highlight what is your book. Yeah. Like only
you
highlight the
think 20
important
or
things.
25 is good?
Yeah, I was thinking, I saw 20 and I went 30, so I think 25. We made bookmarks to the right staff, so we can give bookmarks.
I might have some bookmarks left from Henrietta Lacks book. It's October.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
I like to use those
Man.
things, yeah. And receive my books loaded off them because all the pages are important. Okay, I'm excited.
So, days and times.
I don't know if we're gonna read and then I'll just have one.
Probably we could do it with just one meeting to kick it off. What do you guys think? One meeting?
A meeting to kick it off and then a meeting to.
Yep,
I love it that there's not a lot of meetings.
me too.
I know you like meetings, Kathy, but
I'm starting to wind down.
You like me?
I
she
do.
loves the meeting.
I'm a communication teacher.
I wish you could sit in on some that I have to sit in.
I know. I'm sorry, what?
I was saying, you're done in December, aren't you?
I am.
Winding down.
I am.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at calendars. So for our kickoff session, of course, I got to get these people.
What is everybody here ask students
To come.
to invite those students to come? For our next. Does that make you nervous?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll just say my original.
Yeah.
It's weird that I don't.
I was just thinking Leisha on the volleyball team might like to come.
Yes, yeah.
You know, the volleyball.
Yeah.
So everybody invite one person to join at the kickoff session. All right, so what I'll do is we do these things called doodle polls, which are kind of fun. I've used them before. Okay. Well, I'll use those to see if we can come up with a day and a time. So, and I think this is good. So we'll just do a kickoff plus actual discussion. Okay.
We may be able to get the books like next week.
I'm gonna try. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna leave here today and ask Brandy. Yep. All right. Are we good? Thank you all very, very, very much. I'm going to stop our recording.